Welcome. You are here to rest, to listen, and maybe to drift into sleep. Tonight, we will explore psychology, not in a heavy or complex way, but gently, with simple ideas and real-life examples. Psychology is the science of the mind and behavior. It explains why we form habits, why we feel emotions, why we dream, and why we sometimes make choices without realizing why. As you listen, there is nothing you need to do. You may stay awake and absorb each idea, or you may close your eyes and let the words become background, guiding you softly into rest. Let us begin with our first topic, the psychology of habits, and the quiet role of the subconscious mind. The human mind has two layers. The conscious mind is the one you notice, the part that listens, makes decisions, and reasons. Beneath it lies the subconscious, quieter but far more powerful. It is always working, even when you are not aware of it. Think of a time you brushed your teeth. You did not carefully think about every step, it just happened. That is your subconscious guiding you. Or imagine driving home along a familiar road. You arrive at your door and realize you hardly remember the journey. Your subconscious handled the routine while your conscious mind wandered elsewhere. Psychologists often describe habits as loops. They begin with a cue, followed by a routine, and ending with a reward. For example, you feel bored in the evening, cue. You open your phone and scroll, routine. You feel a small burst of stimulation, reward. Over time, this loop becomes automatic. The subconscious saves it like a shortcut, so your brain can use less effort. Habits can be useful, like drinking water after waking up. Or they can be unhelpful, like snacking late at night. The important thing is, psychology teaches us they are not fixed. With small changes, habits can be reshaped. Take exercise as an example. If you leave your shoes by the door, cue, play your favorite music while moving, routine, and enjoy the pleasant tiredness afterward, reward, the habit becomes easier. The subconscious slowly accepts it as normal. Another everyday example, consider learning to ride a bicycle. At first, it takes effort, wobbles, and conscious attention. But once mastered, the skill sinks into the subconscious. Even years later, you can ride again, as if the memory never left. The subconscious also links to emotions. A smell of rain may bring childhood memories. A song may stir a forgotten feeling. Without conscious effort, your inner mind connects past and present. As you listen now, notice how many parts of life are guided by these hidden patterns. Your subconscious is like a quiet autopilot. It keeps your body safe, your habits running, and your memories stored. And tonight, as you relax, remember this, your subconscious is still awake. It organizes thoughts, repairs emotions, and restores balance. Cognitive biases. Our minds are powerful, but they are not perfect. Psychology has discovered that we often rely on shortcuts in thinking. These shortcuts help us make quick decisions, but they can also lead us to mistakes. In psychology, these shortcuts are called cognitive biases. Let us look at a simple one, confirmation bias. This is the tendency to notice information that agrees with what we already believe, and to ignore what does not. For example, imagine you believe that drinking coffee makes you more productive. Each time you feel focused after coffee, you remember it clearly. But the times you felt tired even with coffee, you might ignore or forget. Your mind highlights what fits your belief, and quietly hides what does not. Another common bias is called the availability bias. This is when we judge how likely something is, based on how easily we can remember an example. Think of airplane accidents. They are rare, but when one happens, it is shown on the news again and again. Later, when you think about traveling, that dramatic memory comes to mind quickly. Because it is easy to recall, the brain assumes it is more common than it really is. Yet in reality, car travel is far more risky, though we rarely fear it in the same way. A third bias is the halo effect. This happens when one good impression shapes how we see the whole person. For example, if someone looks confident and dresses well, we might also assume they are intelligent or kind, even without real proof. The first impression casts a halo over the rest of our judgment. Biases do not mean the mind is broken. They are simply mental shortcuts, ways the brain saves energy. Most of the time, they are harmless. But knowing they exist helps us slow down, reflect, and make clearer choices. So the next time you notice yourself strongly convinced about something, pause for a moment. Ask, am I seeing the full picture, or just the parts my mind wants me to see? Awareness itself is powerful. It allows us to step gently outside the shortcut. The psychology of emotions. Emotions are at the heart of psychology. They are signals from the mind and body, guiding us through life. Some are pleasant, like joy and love. Others are difficult, like sadness, anger, or fear. But all of them serve a purpose. Think of happiness. It is the mind's way of telling us that something is good for us. It might appear when you laugh with a friend, or when you hear a favorite song. It motivates you to return to those experiences. Now think of fear. It can feel uncomfortable, the racing heart, the quick breath. Yet fear is a survival signal. Long ago, it kept our ancestors alert to danger. Today, it might appear before a presentation or an exam. The mind reacts as if facing a threat, even when the danger is only social. Sadness, too, has a role. It slows us down, allowing us to reflect, heal, and seek support. Though it feels heavy, psychologists see it as the body's way of telling us to rest and process what has changed. Anger is another. It rises when we feel treated unfairly. If guided well, it can push us to set boundaries or correct injustice. But if uncontrolled, it can harm both ourselves and others. What psychology teaches is that emotions are not enemies. They are messengers. Instead of resisting them, we can listen. For example, imagine you feel anxious before meeting new people. Instead of only fighting the feeling, you might ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Perhaps it signals a desire to be accepted, or a reminder to prepare. Seen this way, even uncomfortable emotions carry wisdom. A helpful approach is called mindfulness, gently observing emotions without judgment. When sadness comes, notice it, breathe, and let it pass like a cloud. When joy comes, notice it too, and let it fill you before it drifts away. As you rest tonight, remember this, emotions are waves. They rise, they fall, and none of them stay forever. Dreams and the unconscious. Every night, when we fall asleep, our conscious mind rests. But another part of the mind, the unconscious, stays active. It processes memories, emotions, and hidden thoughts. Dreams are one way this inner world speaks to us. Psychologists have studied dreams for centuries. Sigmund Freud believed dreams were a window into hidden desires. Carl Jung thought they carried symbols, guiding us toward balance and self-understanding. Whatever their meaning, dreams show how creative the mind can be when it is free from daily logic. Have you noticed how dreams often combine pieces of real life in unusual ways? A familiar street may appear in another city. A friend might speak with a stranger's voice. The unconscious takes fragments of memory and weaves them into a story. Sometimes dreams reflect our emotions. For example, before an exam or an important meeting, people often dream of being unprepared, missing a class, losing notes, or arriving late. These dreams may not predict the future, but they mirror the anxiety we feel inside. Other times, dreams solve problems. Famous stories exist of scientists, musicians, and writers finding inspiration through dreams. The unconscious continues working while the conscious mind sleeps. There are also recurring dreams, dreams that repeat, sometimes for years. They may reflect unresolved feelings or patterns in life. For example, dreaming of being chased might signal stress that feels overwhelming. But not all dreams carry deep messages. Sometimes, they are simply the brain's way of organizing memories, clearing out unneeded details, and keeping the mind healthy. Whether symbolic or simple, dreams remind us that much of the mind's activity lies beyond conscious control. Psychology shows that the unconscious influences our choices, habits, and even creativity. As you drift tonight, you may notice dreams rising. Some may feel vivid, others may fade quickly. There is no need to force meaning. Just let them come and go, like stories written by the hidden part of your mind. And when morning comes, the conscious mind will awaken again. Memory and learning. Memory is one of the most fascinating parts of psychology. It is the mind's way of keeping the past alive, and using it to guide the future. Without memory, we could not learn, grow, or even know who we are. Psychologists often describe memory as having three stages: encoding, storage, and retrieval. Encoding is when new information enters the brain. Storage is where it rests, sometimes for minutes, sometimes for years. Retrieval is the act of bringing it back when needed. For example, when you first learn a friend's name, you encode it. When you remember it later at a gathering, that's retrieval. But memory is not like a video recorder. It is flexible, influenced by emotions, repetition, and meaning. A happy moment may stay clear for decades, while a small detail from yesterday can vanish overnight. Psychologists also describe different types of memory. Short-term memory holds small bits of information for a brief time, like a phone number you repeat until dialing. Long-term memory stores knowledge, skills, and experiences. This is why you can still ride a bicycle years after learning. Working memory is the active part, holding and using information, like solving a puzzle in your head. Learning is closely tied to memory. Repetition strengthens pathways in the brain, making recall easier. But repetition alone is not enough. Emotion, interest, and context make memories stronger. For instance, a fact from a boring lecture may fade, but a story told with passion often stays for life. Sleep also plays a key role. During rest, the brain organizes and strengthens memories. This is one reason good sleep improves learning. In fact, psychologists have found that students who sleep well after studying often recall more than those who stay awake. Sometimes memory plays tricks. We may confidently recall events that never happened, or details that are wrong. These are called false memories. They remind us that memory is not a perfect recording, but a living process shaped by the mind. There is also forgetting. At first, it may seem negative, but forgetting is natural. The brain lets go of unnecessary details so it can focus on what matters most. Imagine if you remembered every street you ever crossed, or every word from every conversation. Life would be overwhelming. Forgetting helps us stay balanced. Finally, memory connects deeply with identity. When people look back on childhood, holidays, or loved ones, they are not just recalling facts, they are piecing together who they are. In this way, memory is the story the mind tells itself. As you drift tonight, you may feel your own memories rising, gentle flashes of the past, familiar voices, or warm places. Let them come and go softly. They are part of your story, shaping who you are, yet never heavy. Just fragment. Mindfulness and inner peace. Mindfulness is the simple act of paying attention to the present moment, without judgment. It may sound small, but psychology has shown that this practice can bring deep peace to the mind. Often, our thoughts wander. We replay the past, or worry about the future. The mind becomes noisy, restless. Mindfulness is the opposite. It is gently noticing what is here, right now. The breath, the sounds around you, the way the body feels. Psychologists explain that mindfulness quiets the brain's stress circuits. When we focus on the present, the amygdala, the part of the brain linked to fear, slows down. At the same time, regions connected to calm and attention grow stronger. Over time, this creates a mind that is less anxious and more steady. A simple way to practice is with the breath. Breathing in, notice the cool air entering. Breathing out, feel the release. Nothing to change, nothing to force, just noticing. Mindfulness can also happen in daily life. Drinking tea slowly, feeling its warmth. walking outside and noticing each step. Even washing hands, simply paying attention to the water. These small acts train the mind to stay present. Inner peace is not the absence of problems, but the ability to stay calm within them. Psychology suggests that by practicing mindfulness, people become less reactive. Instead of rushing to anger or worry, they pause, breathe, and respond with clarity. Consider a small example: someone speaks harshly. Without mindfulness, emotions rise quickly: anger, hurt, defensiveness. With mindfulness, there is a pause. The words are heard, but not absorbed. The person can choose to respond calmly, or not at all. This creates peace where conflict could have grown. Mindfulness also helps with sleep. By focusing on the breath or gentle awareness of the body, the mind releases racing thoughts. The nervous system slows, and rest comes more easily. Inner peace is not found outside, not in possessions or achievements. It is something grown quietly within, through awareness and acceptance. It is the calm at the center of the storm. As you listen now, you can practice. Notice your breath. Notice the softness of your body resting. Notice the silence between words. You are here, in this moment, and that is enough. Peace does not need to be chased. It arises naturally when the mind lets go, when awareness rests in the present. And tonight, as you dreams and the subconscious. Dreams have fascinated humanity for thousands of years. Ancient cultures saw them as messages, symbols, or visions. Psychology views them differently, but still agrees: dreams are windows into the subconscious mind. When we sleep, the brain does not shut down. Instead, it becomes active in a new way. Memories are sorted, emotions are processed, and fragments of thought weave together into stories we call dreams. Sigmund Freud, one of psychology's earliest thinkers, believed dreams reveal hidden desires. Carl Jung, another psychologist, saw them as symbols, connecting the individual to a deeper collective wisdom. Modern research shows that dreams help with memory and emotional balance. If something troubles us during the day, it may appear in dreams as a way of relief. The subconscious mind is always present, even when we are awake. It shapes habits, reactions, and intuition. It notices patterns we overlook, and it often guides us without words. Dreams are one way it speaks, not always clearly, but through images, feelings, and stories. For example, you may dream of running but never reaching a destination. Psychologists suggest this may reflect stress or a sense of chasing something in waking life. Or you may dream of flying, a feeling of freedom, perhaps linked to release or hope. But not every dream must be explained. Sometimes they are simply the mind's way of organizing and playing. A mix of memory, imagination, and emotion. Nightmares also serve a role. They are uncomfortable, but psychologists believe they help us prepare for challenges. By facing fear in dreams, the brain practices resilience for real life. As you rest tonight, your subconscious is at work. Even if you do not remember your dreams, the mind is gently processing, healing, and renewing. Let this thought be comforting: while you sleep, your mind continues to care for you. It sorts what is heavy, keeps what is important, and lets go of what no longer serves. So if dreams come, let them flow like soft rivers. No need to hold on, no need to resist. They are part of the natural rhythm of the night. And as your body rests deeper, your subconscious mind quietly restores balance, guiding you toward peace.
You have now journeyed through the landscapes of psychology, habits, emotions, relationships, the mind and its mysteries. Each idea has been like a quiet step, guiding you deeper into rest. Sleep comes naturally, like dusk following day. Thoughts may drift in and out, but you do not need to follow them. They are like clouds passing across a night sky.
Remember, your mind is not your enemy. It is your companion. Even now, as you sleep, it is working to restore balance, clarity, and peace. All you must do is allow.